But it just felt like the Vikings had no business being on the field. And my son kept saying, well, it's only 17-6. It's like, yeah, but that means they got to score 11 points. This team isn't scoring 11 points, not based on what we've seen so far. So what made last night even more memorable, it was one of the most dramatic shifts I've seen. And when you couple that, Devin, with the fact that it's the first game J.J. McCarthy ever played, so, let's see what he can do. Oh, no, he can't do anything. And to have that turn as quickly as it did, that it's just one of those rare nights where so many things lined up the right way.
Yeah, that's how I felt watching it. You just say early in the game, you're like, man. And I wasn't a true believer. I think in J.J. McCarthy when he came out, it felt like a lot of talk was the leadership and all those things. And I think that's awesome. I think that's great. But I'm like, man, when a guy comes out of college, usually we're talking about the talent level and what they can do. And the leadership part is what comes in after why a team falls in love with a certain prospect. It just felt like that was all anybody talked about. So I'm like, well, how good is this kid? And I thought what you saw week one obviously doesn't guarantee that he's going to be a stud in the league. But I thought you saw that poise, that leadership come through watching him. Because for any young quarterback to go out there, and we've talked about Chicago's defense being a really good defense last year, the year before, and I thought they played well. And I thought early in the game, he was like, whoa, this is a little different than what I saw in the preseason. Guys are moving after the snap. They're doing different things. And even on the Manning cast, they talked about, hey, man, like, I thought that was zone coverage and it ended up being man. Like those different things, that was confusing for him. And he settled down. And that's not easy to do, to settle down, to trust Kevin O'Connell in your ear telling you different things. When things aren't happening right early in the game, it's easy to kind of just zone out and think like, man, nothing's working. I'm just going to run or I'm just going to do this. So a lot of credit goes to him of saying, you know what? I'm going to believe in this. And I think the coolest scene was after the game. Usually when these young quarterbacks win, like it's like this calm where the team goes crazy, but they kind of try to stay subdued and don't get too excited. Like, I love that J.J. McCarthy was going nuts, screaming, hyped up after the game, because there's a lot of pressure that goes into this. This is your first game of a dream that you had when you were a kid, and then it starts to become reality your last year in college when you're doing what you're doing at Michigan and you win a national championship, but ultimately you have a chance to get drafted high and go play in the NFL. Then you get it ripped away from you your rookie year, and you rehab, you come back, you do all the right things, and there's so much talk. Should they keep Sam Darnold? Should they let you? And you go out there and you win your first game on Monday Night Football. I love the energy he had, and it seems like that team really believes in the young kid. And you could see how excited Justin Jefferson was when he scored that touchdown, the rushing touchdown. It showed, and I think it goes back to the culture that they built in Minnesota, and it was fun to see last night.
I talked about trying to set aside that thing that brought you to professional football as a kid. In the one industry where you must set it aside is professional football, because J.J. McCarthy grew up in the Chicago area as a Bears fan. If you haven't seen it, it's been everywhere. The photograph of him going to his first Bears game in his Brian Urlacher jersey. You've got to forget all about that, because now the Bears are the enemy. I saw one of the accounts on Twitter last night post J.J. McCarthy fulfilled his boyhood dream of throwing a touchdown pass to the Chicago Bears after the pick six that made it 17-6 early in the third quarter. But one of the things that I believe for many years, and Chris has helped validate for me, that connection between what we see and what's really going on. I always watch the demeanor of a quarterback, because there are too many occasions where when things aren't going well, the quarterback has a vibe that tells the world, it's just not my night. It's just not my night. And that applies in any competitive setting, golfing, ping pong, softball, anywhere. When it's not going your way, there is a message you send to the world that lets them know that you believe it's not your day. It's not your moment. It's not your time. Let's just get to the next one. Let's just get out of here. Let's go home. I want to go get under the covers and pull them over my head in bed and sleep this off. And there would have been multiple different times last night where J.J. McCarthy could have adopted the "it's not my night, it's my first game. What did I expect? It's a work in progress. This is going to take time. This is big boy football." Whatever. And he didn't. He never wavered. There's plenty of comments that you'll see out there. We're going to write some stuff at PFT. And he said afterward that in the huddle, when they couldn't do anything, he said to his guys, where else would you rather be? Like, we love football. And those things are contagious. When you're the leader of the team, when you have the C on your jersey, like he does as a first-year player, there's a reason for that. And the players listen and they respond. It can't just be the coach. The accountability, the inspiration, the emotion has to come from the quarterback. And that is as encouraging, I think, if you're a Vikings fan, than anything we saw him do with the football in his hands. Because that's one of the very important intangibles. You lived it. You had a guy like that. You got Super Bowl rings because of it. Not solely because of it, but it's a damn important ingredient when you have a quarterback that's got that kind of emotion, right?
Yep. I mean, you can't win championships without a guy like that. And it's evident when a guy has that. Like, when, no matter if they're young, no matter if they're new to the team, like, when you have a guy that comes in and naturally feels like as soon as he gets in that seat, I'm the guy. And I think they saw that with J.J. McCarthy last year. Sam Darnold's there. No one's sure who's going to start. It feels like it's going to be McCarthy. And I think that picked up this year. When he got in, he picked up exactly where he left off. If we think back to that first preseason game, he got hurt, but it was a damn good showing when he went out in that first preseason game. And I know preseason doesn't tell it all. I think week one is, the obvious case of that, when some of these preseasons and the way guys look and the vanilla offense and defense is out there, it changes. But for a young quarterback, and you get out there, and the first time you get out there, you have a blast, you have fun, you throw a touchdown, like, you let it rip. You're feeling the energy from being with your guys. The next time you get back on the field, yes, it's real, yes, it's Monday night, but that energy you remember, that's the only thing you know. And I think J.J. McCarthy took the field just like that. Innocent and young enough to not know better, but also poised and leadership qualities to say, this is my team now. They follow me. And I love that, because I think no matter where you put that guy, if he would have been the quarterback of any team, if he would have been back in college, if you go and put him as a leader or the director in the mailroom, he's going to have that same energy and he's going to bring that. So, again, I think Minnesota and the players, they saw it. Kevin O'Connell, like, he can't come in there and make those guys believe in somebody. They see it in J.J. McCarthy. And like you just said, not only to play poorly, but when the game's 17-6 and you threw an interception for a touchdown, there's a feeling that it kind of goes from, man, this game was pretty close, and I just kind of made it out of reach. I just threw this pick six that the defense didn't even get a chance to come on the field and get a stop, because at this point, we've only given up 10 points, and I give away 7. That's a bad feeling as a quarterback. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks, when that happened, you kind of get the woe is me feeling, like, oh man, yeah, I was playing poorly, but now this just elevated another level. And he didn't have that. And again, this is in the second half. You don't have time to go regroup, and he still continued to fight. Man, I was impressive by him.
I was at one of your games where that occurred, a certain Super Bowl in Houston.
Yep.
Right? As part of the 28-3. And that pick six, was that pick six first half?
First half, yep.
Was that first half or early? Yeah. So, and that, those moments from the outside, it's very easy to say, oh, it's over. And it's easy if you're the team that pulled that off to think, oh, it's over. And that's when the challenge really locks in for the leader of the team that had that happen. How do we find a way to put this behind us? And even after that, the Vikings couldn't get anything going. They finally discovered the Jordan Mason, who was the hero of the night, Monday Night Week 1 last year, when Christian McCaffrey suddenly isn't playing. When he was questionable and all signs pointed to McCaffrey playing despite a calf injury, he's scratched 90 minutes before kickoff. Everybody does a mad dash to get Jordan Mason on their fantasy team to the extent that anybody had any spots left. And he has a great night. Well, he didn't have the same production, but he had the same impact because once they finally started using him, he kick-started the running game. Aaron Jones all of a sudden started running harder. The defense started playing better. Once they started to get momentum, and this is where X's and O's and analytics takes a seat and zips it. It's about the difference that you perceive in the intensity with which the players are playing. The Vikings defense was flat, even though they didn't implode, and it should have been much worse than 17-6. There were too many moments where the pile was getting pushed. Too many times when DeAndre Swift is contacted and he gains 3-4 extra yards. Too many times when guys were wide open when Caleb Williams found them down the field. But once they started to get it going, and it really was triggered by the first play of the fourth quarter, the 50-yard field goal by Cairo Santos that was no good. At a time when 50 is becoming chip shot, it's a surprise when a guy misses one. So you get the ball at your own 40, and you're still down 11, and that was it. 6 plays, 60 yards. All of a sudden, I turned to my son and I said, what the hell is going on? It's 17-12. Like, because I was working on stuff. I do power rankings every Tuesday morning. So by the time the fourth quarter started, it's like, screw this game. I'm going to work on the power rankings. And I'm watching the game, and I'm getting the power rankings together. And it's like, holy crap. And that's the touchdown pass that culminated that drive. Justin Jefferson easily could have been frustrated, easily could have acted out a little bit. He didn't, and it delivers. And there's the touchdown pass that gave the Vikings the lead. A great route by Aaron Jones Sr., who is a weapon in the passing game. And then this is the play, the read option, and he read it perfectly. A little nifty move there, waited on his block. J.J. McCarthy scores the touchdown. It goes from 17-6 to 27-17 in the span of a quarter. It was a quarter that Vikings fans will always remember, but the players who play with J.J. McCarthy this year and beyond, and he's always going to believe. You know, Josh Allen said after the Sunday night game to the fans who left early, Devin, have some faith next time. Well, the Vikings players will have faith and the fans will too. If they get into another sluggish game like this, there's always going to be that belief that one thing can turn it on because we've shown we're capable of doing it. That's what McCarthy has brought to that team in his first game. Something that will allow you to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, one of the hardest things to pull off in football, to turn around the entire momentum of 45 minutes and have everything come to life in the final 15.
Yeah, I remember talking to my brother early in his career when he was in Tennessee, and they just had so many different quarterbacks. And he said it's a deflating feeling when you go and you leave the field as a defense, and you know when the offense takes the field, we could be a tie game, we could be down 3. He said, but you knew you weren't going to win the game. You knew that the guy at the helm just didn't have it in him to drive the team down and get a game-winning field goal or a game-winning touchdown. He said, you knew it. And then I saw it when we got Aqib Talib and we got Darrelle Revis, and they got to our team. And sometimes the game wouldn't kind of go our way, and we're leaving the field as a defense, and I call it 48 seconds, a minute and change, whatever amount of time is left, and our offense would take the field. And I would look at those guys, and I'd be like, hey, fellas, this is different than when you were in Tampa or in the Jets. That guy's going to go win the game. And that is a feeling that you can't create. You have to experience it. It has to be a real life. For me, it was the Tom Brady experience that when you leave the field and it doesn't look good and he finds a way to will the team to win, once you see that one time, a few times, it just gives you this belief that it'll get done. And
hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.